and WNST a few months ago, and I guess a new quarterback in town down there, and bad feelings about the NBA in Game 6, but great mojo for these Houston Astros who are, I don't know what's hotter, the Houston Astros or the Houston Asphalt. Randy Harvey's going to figure that out with us. He's one of our defending champions around here, and one-time executive sports editor of the Baltimore Sun, now down at the Houston Chronicle. You can follow him at Randy Harvey, and before that, I should say long-time columnist at the Los Angeles Times. I don't want anybody to think you're one of those nerds just wore a suit that you never covered a sporting event, Randy Harvey.
No, I've had a few of my deadline experiences.
Well, I mean, this Astros team would be something to write about, right? I mean, there is something brewing down there. It started 2 years ago. Clearly got a little sidetracked last year, but this has been very well managed, and they are really putting some distance between themselves and everyone else right now.
Yeah, I mean, the Rangers recently won 10 in a row, and the Astros are still 7 games ahead of them in the American League West. So they got off to a great start, and they're a good team.
Are you buying what they're selling at this point? I mean, are you buying that they're going to make moves, that improvement's going to be here, that Keuchel's going to stay healthy? I mean, clearly, the back end of that rotation's a little spotty, but, I mean, most teams can say that around base. Hell, the front end of our rotation's a little spotty right now, other than Bundy. But, I think that they probably want to augment that, right?
Yeah, I think that they still have some good prospects, and so they've got some pieces that they can dangle to try to go out and get someone. I think what they prefer, though, is to keep their prospects. I hope Keuchel can get healthy, and that McCullers stays healthy, and then Colin McHugh, their number 3 starter, that had an elbow problem, and he comes back after the All-Star break, and he kind of takes over as their number 3. And then, like you said, there's not a lot of teams who have great 4s and 5s, so I think they can probably get by with what they have if McHugh can come back. If he doesn't, then they're probably going to have to go shopping at the trade deadline.
So many great young players in baseball. You know, Arenado out in Colorado. Obviously, I love Lindor up in Cleveland. We got our own thing going. Machado, Harper around here, and Trout out on the West Coast where you used to do your thing. But Correa's right up there for me, and I wouldn't bet against him becoming the best of the whole lot. It feels like a fair to middling year for him, but it feels like he's going to improve.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're saying. He levels off, but he'll get hot at periods and carry them for a while, and then level off. But that's just baseball, and he's just such a mature player, and he from the day he walked into the clubhouse, I mean, he was a team leader, and it's really amazing that you could have veterans accept a guy like that when he's first walking in. But that's just the way he carries himself. And so even when he's down, the players respect him, and he doesn't get too far down, so he's a very level-headed guy, good, great player. Fans love him, and teammates love him, and so yeah, I think he's definitely on his way to being a genuine star.
Well, they brought in some veteran guys, too. Beltran and McCann, obviously Reddick. I mean, they have augmented what has come off the farm there, and maybe they feel like they've picked up enough veteran and especially, I mean, I always hear about their system, and I always hear about guys coming up and making an impact, and, I don't know that this is the best environment to do that when you're 15 games over 500, but certainly there is some room here to work some other guys into this rotation as well.
Yeah, and I think that was the thing for about 3 years. They weren't going out into the market and bringing anybody in, and they were just letting their farm guys come up and grow and become major leaguers, and they were finding out who could play and who couldn't, and so this last off season is when you could tell, okay, now they think they're close enough where some veterans go out and get some veterans like Beltran and McCann and let them fill in where there might be some holes. And so that was encouraging because there was a time there when people were saying that Jim Crane, the owner, is just not going to spend any money, and that he's too cheap, and that he won't go out and get anybody. And but he was just being patient.
Well, and I think that's the hardest thing for any fan base to be. And now the belief starts to go through the roof a little bit when you get off to one of these 6:30, 6:50 starts. You're beating everybody. But down in those parts, the real belief is when they start to beat the Rangers, right?
Yeah, so they had a good series against the Rangers already this year. They play them again in up there in Arlington next week. And that'll be a much bigger test because the Rangers are playing a lot better than they were when the Astros met them earlier this season.
Randy Harvey joining us here from the Houston Chronicle. You can follow him at Randy Harvey as well as at Akron.com and the Houston Chronicle. You miss Camden Yards, don't you, Randy?
Oh God, yes, a bit. Yeah, I still have great memories of Camden Yards. Still think it's the best park in baseball, and Minute Maid's a nice park, but I can see so many touches that they plagiarized, that they stole from Camden Yards, like a lot of parks did. So that's one of those. It was even as a new park, it was already an iconic park, and everybody said that's the feel we want, and they've tried to duplicate that at Minute Maid as much as they can, but it's still not Camden Yards.
I just wish they would play Aerosmith's Train Kept a Rollin' every time they roll the train down the track there, That's what I would do. But, I mean, I know it's more boots and country down there outside of Pasadena. He is the urban cowboy, Randy Harvey down in Houston. For towns, right? I mean, we've had our parades here, and I think there's not even really angst about the Orioles here. I mean, the fan base is so blinded by the orange that I don't think it really matters whether they win or not. I don't know that there's any real expectation that they win the World Series. I don't know that fans get pissed when they don't win the World Series here. But down in Houston, there's like a real longing going on. I mean, especially on the football side where the Oilers never did it. They're trying to figure out the quarterback situation perpetually. Harden goes from being MVP candidate to village goat after the Game 6 thing. That I think there probably is a little pressure on the Astros to produce and to win because they are the latest, greatest hope. And look, I never thought the Rockets were going to win the NBA championship this year. It's turned out exactly the way I thought it was going to turn out with Golden State and Cleveland. But the Astros right now, I'm starting to buy what they're selling. I thought they'd be a better team than they were last year. I think I'll see them in October, and I think they'll be a factor.
Yeah, I think they will, and I really think that's what they tried to build as an organization, and that's what they told us all along. Is they're not expecting to be one of those dynasty teams that wins the World Series 5 consecutive years or 3 out of 5 consecutive years. But what they wanted to do was get in a place where, like you said, people are talking about them in September and October, where they're one of those teams that's there every year, and that's really what they've built. Is their farm system was number one in Baseball America like 3 years in a row, and it's not number one now because so many guys are up, but it's still one of the top farm systems in baseball, and that's what they want to do: keep the farm system strong, keep growing. These guys, keep bringing them up, letting them work their way in the lineup, and just be perpetual contenders. And they can, unless they have injuries like they did last year, they can do that.
Randy, you spent so much time to cut your teeth out on the Showtime Lakers out in L.A. and what that team represented there. Even in a place like Houston, I mean, even the Wizards, where the teams were pretty good. I mean, talk about the third best team in the league in Houston. Obviously, the Wizards took the Celtics to Game 7 to the end. That there would be some thought, well, maybe the Rockets would have given Golden State more of a run or Washington. I don't know. I don't see any of these teams as really being close to these other two teams, and certainly not Golden State on a one-by-one basis when they're healthy. I don't know that Cleveland would have ever had that parade last year, if things were all level set with Steph Curry and his health and whatnot. And I know Cleveland complained about the injuries 2 years ago, but we're about to see, Ali Frazier part 3, right? I mean, like that's what this amounts to, and we don't get a lot of these rematch of the rematches, and I think everyone sort of expected this from the beginning, but I think it's hard for the Rockets and the Wizards or anybody else, even when you're number 3, you're still not number 1 or number 2, and I don't know that they were ever close, really. That anybody would have bet on the Rockets.
I mean, you look at Cleveland. They got, LeBron, obviously, and look how many years consecutively he's been in the finals. There's obviously something really, really special about him, not just as a player, but as a teammate and a leader. They get Kyrie Irving, they got Kevin Love, they got, they're and then you look at what Golden State did with the team they already had, and then going out and getting Durant. Well, the Rockets didn't do that. They went out and got a couple of nice parts, Eric Gordon and Ryan Anderson, but that's not, neither one of them's Kevin Durant. So they were still very Harden-centric, and until a team like Houston goes out and gets that second and third, star player, they're not going to be in that league. Again, they're a team that just wants to be consistently among the top, but at some point, people are going to say, "Hey, it's about time to." I mean, Harden's time is going to, start running out, and people are going to say, "You better win before you better build around him before he goes."
Even money on this, right? Golden State and Cleveland. Like, no one really knows who's going to win next, right? I mean, I wouldn't bet against LeBron, but I wouldn't bet against Steph Curry either.
Well, last year I was certain that Golden State was going to win, and this year I'm certain that Golden State's going to win. So obviously I don't know anything, and it'll be fun just to watch it play out. I wouldn't bet against LeBron.
Hey, man, always great to visit with you. Life is good down there in Houston. We had a nice Super Bowl down there, right? It was busy, right?
Summer hasn't really hit yet, so we're any day now. But so life is good until that first day of summer, and then it's then our air conditioning bills go way up. But it's but a little bit about humidity where you are too.
99 in the shade. That's the way they do it in Houston. It'll be warm down there. The torrid Houston Astros taking on the very much struggling Baltimore Orioles here this weekend, so we'll see how this turns out. You can find me out in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear, even in Houston or Dallas or Denver or anywhere else my travels are taking me this holiday weekend. It's also my wife's birthday, so wish her a happy birthday if you see her out on the Facebook or out on the internet. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570 and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.